Hey, 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 it's Matt Frazier, the Psychic Medium. I am live right now, and I am so excited today to share with you Spirit Communication 101. I want to share with you exactly what it's like being a psychic medium and how your loved ones communicate with us from the other side. Now, you might be like, Matt, why is this important? Why do I need to know this? Well, I've gotten a lot of comments on my Facebook and Instagram and even on YouTube lately that people have come to me saying, Matt, I don't understand. I went to a psychic medium and I didn't get a good reading. Or my friend went to the psychic, had this amazing reading, and my reading didn't go so well. Why is this? How could this be? Was the psychic medium fake? Was the psychic medium, off? What could happen? And why is it that psychic readings can change from person to person? Well, I am here to break it down, to share with you everything, because there's so many misconceptions when it comes to speaking to the spirit world. And I got to tell you that even with me, I get so excited, but sometimes a little bit bored when I connect with your spirit, with your loved ones in spirit. I know you might not expect me to say that, but I'm going to share with you the reason why that is. And the number one reason is because your loved ones bring with them their personality to the other side. And that's the reason why every single psychic reading is different. Every time a soul comes through, the readings are completely different. The souls are completely different. We're going to jump in. We're going to talk all about it. But first of all, I want to say hello to all of you who are here. I see Cindy is here. Gina is here. She never misses a live. I see Eileen is here. Linda Friedland is here. I see Jerry is here. John Icon is here from Scotland. I love that. I also see that. Carol Hernandez is here as well. And Vicky is here. And so many of you, do me a favor, click the share button, send me some likes, get this out there, because I feel like this is something that so many people ask about, but so many people don't know about. And here's what I want you to know. Being a psychic medium, one of the coolest things about spirit communication is that your loved ones don't change once they get to the other side. The only thing that changes is that their memories return, they no longer have illness, and your loved ones are at a place of peace. Well, why is that important? Well, because your loved ones are the same person that as they left this world are on the other side, meaning that because your loved ones keep with them their personality, when I connect with them as a spirit, it's very important to know that your loved ones are the same. And I know I keep saying that. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? Well, here's what it means. Is that somebody who is super bossy and loud and vibrant here in this world is going to be the same way on the other side. Someone who's meek and mild and shy, very soft-spoken, is going to be that way on the other side of life, right? Someone who mumbled here in this world might come through mumbling in the spirit world. Well, this is the reason why it's important, is because your loved ones in spirit, when they come through with that same personality that they had here in this world. So for a psychic medium, it's very easy to talk to somebody who used to like to talk here in this world. If you had a grandmother that was a gossiper, that was loud, that was the first person that you could hear when you entered the room, guess what? That's the person that's probably going to be the first one to enter up into a psychic reading. But if you had a dad who was very closed off, very quiet, only spoke when spoken to, was a man of little words, that might be a spirit that's a little bit harder to connect with, that might not take up the majority of your reading. And here's why. Your loved ones in spirit, the moment that they get to the other side, get super excited to communicate with you, speak to you, and talk with you. But as a medium, psychics can't go and force out information out of a loved one. So I want to explain to you kind of how it works being a medium, communicating with your loved ones, and how your loved ones communicate back to me as a medium, right? Because I think that's the easiest way to understand. So first of all, the moment that I go into a psychic reading or I go to read for somebody, the first thing that I do is I tune in and I start to ask questions like, who's here and with me? So how do I do this? I do this in my head. So I'll just say, who's here? And I'll start to feel things. I might start to feel your dad start to come through, your mom start to come through, or I might start to feel a soul that I don't recognize come through. Like, I don't think it's your mom, I don't think it's your dad, but someone that's with you. Might be a young male that passed away, might be somebody that passed away tragically, might be somebody that I don't really think that you're going to connect with, you may not have known, but is somehow here. So the next step that I do in my own personal process is I start to ask that soul questions in my head. I'll start to ask, who are you? What's your name? How did you die? Why are you showing up? What's your message? And then the souls on the other side start to respond. Now, that being said, this is where things get a little bit tricky and a little bit chaotic. It's that even though me as a psychic medium, I can ask your loved ones questions, it depends on if your loved one in spirit wants to speak about that or not. Sometimes there's souls that'll come through that'll tell me everything. I'll ask them, what's your name? How'd you die? Who are you with? And boom, they'll tell me, oh, I was Eddie. Oh, I died in this way. Oh, I'm here with my brother Paul. And they'll start to like overwhelm me with information. They'll be super open and they'll be super talkative and they'll bring through everything, that you ask them about. And sometimes there's souls that are really reserved. We'll ask them, what's your name? How'd you die? Who are you looking for? What are some messages? And they'll say to me, I'm only looking to say this. This person's son, I died tragically, but I'm not here to talk about this. I'm here to talk about this, and this. It actually just recently happened when I was connecting to a woman who had lost her son. Her son had passed away, and her son passed away tragically. Unfortunately, I could feel that it was an overdose, even though he never came through and said those words to me. I could just feel it because of the way that he was acting. And when I connected with him in the spirit side of life, I, of course, asked him all of these questions. I wanted to know about how he had died, some messages for his mother, what he can tell me about his death, all of these things. And what he had said to me back was, I'm not here to talk about my death. I don't want to talk about my death. My mom's grieving. My mom has gone through so much pain because of the way that I died. He told me that he took responsibility for his passing, but he was here strictly to talk about the signs. He wanted his mom to know how he was communicating with her in heaven, so that this way she could know how he was reaching her, but also she could have some validation, knowing that he truly was trying to get in touch with her and that heaven was a real place. This is how your loved ones communicate. And this is how they decide what messages are going to come through and what messages are. And it's funny because sometimes your loved ones won't answer my questions and they'll say something that you'll need to hear at that moment to know that it's truly, truly them. And I got to tell you, I love these little validations because sometimes what a validation is, it's a little nugget of information that only you would know, only your loved one would say to instantly make you know that they're here and with you. And sometimes that validation is all that's needed to get you to believe. So for example, there was this father that I was talking to in spirit. He was one of the ones that was tough, you guys. He was one that like really didn't say much here in this world. He was very quiet. He was very soft-spoken. And the moment that I walked into this room, I'll never forget, I was in Peabody, Massachusetts. I was doing this live reading and I saw this woman's father that was there. And he had come through and she was there with her brother. So her and her brother were there. Their father had come through. And when I was connecting with him, he had shown me that he lived this very simple life. He loved his reclining chair. He watched television. And I was asking him, well, tell me more. Tell me specific things. I want to know, who you're with, what's going on the other side. Tell me, how did you die? Tell me some things that your family would know. And he only told me this one word. He told me clams. I'll never forget. He told me clams. I'm like, I don't know why. I'm like, but your father's telling me clams. And he keeps showing me visions of clams. And they're like, I don't know, Matt. I don't know what he's talking about. I have no idea. I don't know why my dad would say that. Well, anyways, that's all he would bring up in the reading. No matter how many times I would go and ask him, different questions, he just kept responding, tell him about the clams, tell him about the clams. And like, I don't know. I'm like, go back and figure it out. I don't know why your dad would be telling me this. I got to tell you guys, this reading still gives me the chills. They were leaving the event. I was out there. I was signing books in the front lobby. And at the end of the event, they had left. They had come running back into the room about 10 minutes later, freaking crying. And I was like, what's going on? What's going on? And they were like, Matt, they like ran to the front of the lane. They're like, we got to tell you something. You know how my dad came through and he kept telling me, kept saying, you have to say clams. You have to say clams. I was like, yeah. They were like, well, something happened. They're like, something we didn't tell you. They're like, before the reading had happened, they're like, our other brother was a skeptic. He's a non-believer. He wouldn't come to the event today. He's like, so he said to me that before we came to this event, he goes, I have a word in my head. I have something that I want dad to say. And if Matt Frazier says this word, I'll know that dad is truly here and with us. And they're like, well, what's the word? And he's like, I won't tell you till after the event. And then when they left the event, they were like, oh my God, dad came through. And, Matt didn't really have much of a message for us, blah, 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 blah. And they were like, well, what did he say? And he said, well, I said he was on his, reclining chair and whatnot. And for some reason, they kept bringing up clams. And their brother, who was this hardened skeptic, started crying on the phone and was like, that was it. They're like, what was it? They're like, that was the word. That's what I asked dad to tell Matt if it was real. I asked him to say clams. And they were completely bawling their eyes out, had to run back into the event and tell me because they could not believe that validation. Well, this is why spirits communicate differently, right? The thing is that people think that coming to a medium, you can force out information. Like you can ask your loved one, "Hey, where did I lose my ring? Tell me where it was. Let me know the lottery numbers. Let me know where where you hid the money." Right? And listen, sometimes souls will come through and validate that and say that. Sometimes they won't. Sometimes they're like, it's not meant for you to recover, or I don't want to give that information, or whatever it may be. And sometimes what also happens is that your loved one in spirit does this because you're not focused on what's important. What's really cool about doing these readings is I've learned after all of these years that your loved ones are focused on what's going to help you to heal. What's going to help you to heal? What's going to help you to restart your life? What's going to help you to find your soulmate? What's going to help you to move past grief? Whatever it may be, your loved one knows what's hurting on the inside and they know how to help you to heal. So a lot of times you might come to a medium because you might want to be like, "Oh my God, Matt, I have to come to a medium. I want to know what my dad thinks about the new house that I built. I want my dad to validate that he's watching over my son and my daughter. And I want him to know that my daughter started this new school. And I want him to talk about all these things." But yet what your dad really wants to talk about is your mom, because your mom's still living. Your mom is going through some health scares. You're going to need to be there for her. And he wants to prepare you because your mom isn't talking about what's going on with her health, but he sees that she's neglecting herself. He sees that she's going to need some medical intervention. He sees that she's going to need someone to live. She's going to need some assisted, assistance with, living and carrying daily functions. This is the reason why your loved ones come through. What's so backwards is people come to a medium and they already set their expectations, right? They're like, "I want my dad to tell me this, 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 and this." And sometimes your loved ones will, but sometimes there's something so much more important. And also what I want you to know, and the reason why I feel like so many people get stressed out or get, don't know what to do when their readings go wrong, is because they're not sure how spirit communicates. So here's what I want you to know, is that after years and years and years and years and years of doing this, I want you to know that it's so important that you don't compare your psychic reading to anybody else's, right? That's what's so important, is that, like, people used to do this to me all the time when, they would go and get private readings, right? Is that back in the day, back when I used to do private readings, back before the television show, people would be like, "Matt, I don't understand. Like, you did a reading for my friend who had lost her father and you told her this, 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 this. And my dad didn't have all that information." And I'm like, "I know, but I can't force out information. You can't compare your reading with your dad with that person's information, because her and her dad had a different bond, right? Her and her dad were best friends. Her and her dad were with each other morning, noon, and night. She lived with her dad. Her and her dad were working on all these projects together, where your dad may not have brought through as many many validations that you would like, but his messages were still meaningful." Well, this is what I see happen all the time, is that people compare their reading to someone else's reading, or expect, because someone's father said this, this, and this to them, that my dad's going to say the same, or my dad's going to talk about this. What I want you to know is that your loved one is still their own person. They make their own decisions. They choose what they're going to talk about. They choose what they're going to say. And that's what's so important to remember, whether you come to me or any medium, is that every single soul has a different message that they want to speak about, that they want to communicate. And that's the reason why they come through. Souls don't just come through to say, "Hey, I'm okay in heaven. Everything's good. I'm fine." Souls come through on what they feel is important to tell you. And sometimes what they feel is important to tell you might be very different on what you think is important, right? Your dad might come through and the whole reading might be about how he made up with your mom on the other side, how him and your mom aren't fighting anymore, how him and your mom, worked past all these worked past all these years of grief and pain after they had divorced for so many years, right? That might be important to him to tell you, but you might be like, "But I really don't care," right? But you're going to know that on some level deep down inside, your loved ones know that this is going to bring you healing, validation, and comfort. And I also want you to know this, because you also have to know that when spirits come through for a medium, sometimes it's harder to hear those souls as well that, didn't have that much to say, or maybe spoken a few words. And sometimes that can happen, right? Where your dad might come through to just say, "Hey, I'm here and with you. And I just want to let you know that, even though I didn't get to say goodbye, I'm fine." And that might be who you really want to hear from, but who takes up the whole entire reading is your best friend's son that passed away. And you're like, "Wait a minute, I didn't pay for this. I didn't come for this. I came from my dad. Why is my best friend's son here?" Right? He wasn't my son. He wasn't my family member. I didn't have a closeness to him. Well, you have a closeness with his mom, and he's coming through because you're the key, you're the bridge to get to his mother. Well, I can't tell you how many times people would come in and say these things. People would come in and be nervous or be scared or be anxious because they wouldn't hear what they were anticipating on hearing. But remember, there's always a reason on why and how your loved ones communicate from the spirit world. And like I said, every single soul is completely different. I gotta tell you guys, I gotta be honest. Sometimes souls come through and they're freaking boring, right? If your dad was the type of person where he never left his house, right? He lived a very simple life. He just watched TV all day, all night. He didn't really have any hobbies. He didn't really have any friends. He really didn't do anything, right? That's the type of reading it's going to be. Where if you had your mom, on the other hand, who was loud and always getting herself into trouble and had a fight with the neighbors before she died, right? And had like 10 different cats and that used to go missing. And she had a sister that she would be fighting with and sometimes not. That's going to be a really interesting reading, right? You can see the dynamic. You can feel the dynamic. And that's the reason why. So even if you look on YouTube, even if you look on Facebook, even if you look at some of the TikTok videos, there's some messages that are short and sweet. There are some messages that are super long. There's some souls that'll come through for 20 minutes. There'll be this pile of information that they have to say and speak to you. There's some souls that'll come through that just says, hey, listen, I want you to know that I'm here and that I'm fine. That's the cool part about speaking to spirit, right? Is that you never know what you're going to get. You're never going to know what they're going to show. You're never going to know, why it is that they come through. Like even as a medium, you're going to know that these messages don't mean anything to me, right? This meant to mean something to you. So like when I deliver a message, sometimes I have no idea what the hell the souls are talking about. And then it's not until I see the person on the other end say, oh my God, my dad did this, and this, that I'll start to get excited too. And I got to tell you, it's really cool because being a medium, I always remember those on the other side. I always remember what the messages that they tell me. I always remember who they are because their life is so different. And being a medium, it's cool because when I get to do a reading, I get to meet your loved one in spirit. And I also get to see the behind the scenes of their life, what they actually felt, how they actually looked like, what they felt before they died, and so much more. So here's what I want you to know. When it comes to spirit communication, it's the same thing with you receiving signs. That's the reason why when your loved one passes away, sometimes you might hear from one soul more strongly than another. You might hear and receive signs from your mom all the time. She comes in dreams. She sends you signs like dragonflies, butterflies, repeating numbers, right? Your loved ones, your other loved ones that are still alive receive signs from your mom. But your dad, you don't feel all that often. Doesn't mean that he's not there, but his presence is a subtle one. You don't always feel him. You don't always sense him. You don't always get signs from him. It's not a bad thing. It's just who he was here in this world. And I'll tell you something else that most mediums won't talk about. But most mediums, secretly know on the inside, right? If they're doing mediumship correctly. And that is that sometimes it takes up to a year's time for a loved one to come through after they pass away. And I can't tell you how many times I have been hit with this where people are like, that's not true, Matt. That's not true, Matt. That's not true, Matt. Or like people will go back through my readings and they'll be like, but Matt, this person died on Monday and you talked to them on Tuesday. What you're saying can't be right. Well, first of all, hold the phone. Listen to what I'm saying. Sometimes it can take a year's time for a loved one. Sometimes, not all the time. Every soul is different, right? Some souls come through right away. Some souls take a little bit of time because when souls first get to the other side, there's this transition process. They're getting back in touch with their own loved ones that they've lost. They're so excited to see their mom that had passed. They're so excited to see their dog that had passed away. They're so excited to see their best friend or their neighbor or their girlfriend or their two ex-wives, or well, maybe they wouldn't be excited over that, but you know what I'm saying, right? There's this big reunion that happens on the other side of life when souls pass on. And then when souls pass on, they go through this life review. They learn to send signs. The souls have to adjust to the other side. We don't just get to heaven and be like, okay, you know what? Here we go, right? Let's start sending signs. It's almost like with me, like when I travel to another part of the country or another part of the world where there's a time difference, it takes me a good day or so, sometimes 2 days, right, to settle in. I'll be honest with you, right? Same thing happened. I know I always bring it back to pregnancy. I always bring it back to birth because I'm a dad now, so that's what we do, right? But it's like when my son was first born, when Rowan was first born. When Rowan was first born, you guys, I was so exhausted. I was so hyped up, right? Going through Alexa being pregnant, the pregnancy, the hospital, watching him be delivered via C-section, spending all this time with him. I was so excited that I didn't sleep for 24 hours. Well, then it hit me. I crashed, right? And after he was born, I didn't communicate. I wasn't on Facebook. I wasn't on social media for at least a good 2 weeks. And everybody was like, where the hell's Matt Frazier? Like, is Matt okay? Did everything go okay with the birth? Did everything go okay? And like people, well, actually, all of you guys were writing to me being like, Matt, I hope everything's fine. I'm like, yeah, I just been sleeping. I was exhausted. I wasn't ready to get back online yet. Well, that's the same thing. What happens when loved ones first pass away, right? Is that they go through this transition. Some souls, they have the energy where they come through and they want to speak right away. Some souls, sometimes it takes some time. But if souls come through early, and I always know when it's a new spirit communication is always the weakest when someone first passes away. Now, you might think it's the opposite. You might think like, oh my God, they first passed. It must be amazing. Well, actually, it's different. The more time that souls spend on the other side, the better they are at communicating with us. The souls that first get to the other side, sometimes it's hard. Now, I want to let you know, I call this the 4-month freakout because you guys need to know this. There is this 4-month freakout. It's a real thing. I call it this. Every single time someone loses a loved one, immediately I see on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, I'll get a message or a comment 4 months after a loved one's passing that'll say, oh my God, Matt, it's been 4 months. What's going on? I haven't heard from my mom. I haven't heard from my sister that had died. What is going on? What's going on? Did she make it to heaven? What if she didn't make it to heaven? What do I do? Well, first of all, like I said, 4 months, 4-month freak out. If you just lost a loved one, you need to listen to this. It sometimes can take up to 6 months to start seeing signs, up to a year to start seeing signs because your loved ones are getting settled in. And also what's difficult is that you have to go from feeling them physically to feeling them spiritually. And sometimes it's not that your loved ones aren't trying to reach you. Sometimes it's also you, right? And what I mean by that is that it's hard when we first lose a loved one. We go from hugging them, kissing them, spending time with them, being able to call them and visit them whenever we want, to next thing you know, having to feel them on a totally different way, having to feel them spiritually, having to feel them energetically. You know what I'm talking about? Well, this is the hardest thing. I can't count how many times I'll do a reading for somebody and they won't sense their brother with them. They won't sense their dad with them. They won't sense their mom with them. But when I go to do a reading, their loved one is right there. Their loved one is right by their side. How could this be? What's going on? Well, it's because if you first lose a loved one that you're super, super close with, and especially happens if it was a really solid connection, like, for example, a husband. Let's say that you and your husband were 35 years married to one another. All you knew for 35 years was him being by your side, and he passes away, right? You're not used to feeling him in a spiritual sense. You're not used to getting the signs. You might not even know what signs he's using to reach you. Well, that's where I come in as a psychic medium. And I love doing these types of readings. I can't tell you how many people have come to me where they don't think they're getting signs from a loved one. And then their husband that died that, they didn't think was there will be like, hey, I'm here. And by the way, I've been sending her birds. And the wife will be like, oh my God, there was just this hawk that happened and this happened and this happened and this happened. They'll be like, I didn't know that was him. And they get all excited because they're not able to put the pieces together, which is completely fine, right? We all don't start learning spirit communication or how to communicate with a loved one until after they had passed away, right? That's the way that it works. And sometimes it depends on a loved one's passing. If a loved one was peaceful and passed away, and maybe they knew about their illness for quite some time, maybe they knew that they were passing for quite some time and got to accept it, maybe they'll come through right away. Souls that have been gone, souls that pass tragically or quickly, sometimes won't come through because there's still questions on the other side that they have. They've already made it, they've already crossed over, but they're still putting things together. Or sometimes what I've seen when recently souls pass is they'll come through with a quick message to let their family know that they're safe and at peace, or they'll use another family member, like I might connect with your mom who validates that your daughter is there, that your daughter made it to heaven, she's reuniting with everyone, but she's not quite ready to come through with the message yet. I'm letting you know this because messages can't be forced, right? It has to be a time when you're ready, when the spirit world is ready, and when everything aligns. And I want to let you know that because people used to get even upset when I used to do private readings when one soul would be, more forceful than another. They'd be like, well, can't you tell my dad to just be quiet so I can hear from, my old boyfriend? Or can't you tell my mom to be quiet? I really want to hear from my sister. And like I said, the way that it works is that one time you might come to a medium, hear this amazing message from your mom, And then you don't hear from your sister. You might leave a little bit disappointed, but it's not her time. And you come back again, and you hear this amazing message from your sister, right? Or sometimes what happens, and like I said, it always happens. I want to explain to you what happens when souls first pass away. It's really tough to communicate with them because as a medium, because they're trying to come through, like a lot of times I'll hear early souls try to come through that just past a few weeks or after a few months. But because they're not, their energy is so new, it's almost being like being on a cell phone that's breaking up. They'll come in and they'll come out. They'll come in, they'll come out. They'll be like, tell my mom that I'm okay. Won't hear anything for a little bit. They'll be like, tell my mom I'm sending her this sign. Won't hear from anything for a little bit. So it's almost like being on a cell phone connection that's breaking up. But I tell you this because if you haven't got a message from a loved one, or maybe you came to a medium and maybe your loved one just passed away and maybe the message wasn't what you thought. Maybe it was that the message didn't really make sense. Maybe the message was something that, didn't resonate at this time. Don't worry, right? It will. And it might not be the medium's fault. It might just be that, it was a little bit too early. But there's one red flag that I really, really, really want you to know. And this is really important, is that because people say to me, well, what's a red flag they need to look for when it comes to a medium? It's when somebody says they can guarantee a connection to your loved one. When somebody says, oh, who are you looking to connect with? Oh, I'll connect with your dad. I'll connect with your sister. I'll connect with your brother. And you might laugh at this, or you might be like, oh, Matt, I knew this. Well, no, this really does happen. And you have no idea that people have come to me that's been like, because, I'll be honest with people. If I don't sense a message from your mom, I'm not going to give you a message. I'm not going to tell you that she's there. Or sometimes I might tell you, well, I sense and feel her, but I'm not getting a direct message. And then there's some people who come to me and be like, Matt, but I don't understand. Like the other day, don't laugh at this. This is real, you guys. So I don't want you to think like that. Let's not make don't make fun of this because there's people who actually do this. The other day I went to a medium and, I was able to communicate with celebrities. Like I wanted to communicate with Marilyn Monroe and I talked to Marilyn Monroe and, I wanted to talk to Frank Sinatra and Frank Sinatra came through and I learned this, and this. And there's actually people who will pay money to go to a medium and connect with celebrities in heaven. There was one filmmaker who came to me that, came to me because he wanted to connect with Steven Spielberg. And not Steven, was it Steven? No, what's the one? Alfred Hitchcock. Sorry. Steven Spielberg, I think, is still alive. I don't know movies. I was like Alfred Hitchcock, someone, one of those great like filmmakers like that. Anyway, long story short, he was like, I'm pretty sure it was Hitchcock. I want to say it was. He came to me and he was like, I want to connect with this person. He's my mentor. So I'm like searching the spirit world for this person. I'm like, I don't see who you're connecting with. And he's like, well, he's really famous. And I'm like, well, what was your connection to him? He's like, oh, no, I don't have a connection to him. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, well, I go to this other medium and, I have these weekly sessions where he tells me about like my creative ability and this, that, the other thing. And I'm like, well, first of all, listen, let me tell you something. If there was anybody who could communicate with Marilyn Monroe or somebody famous like that, it would be me, right? I would love, love, love to contact, Whitney Houston on the other side of life and communicate with her. But you need a direct connection, right? I can't just, search for a spirit and communicate. It's almost like here in this world, you need to know someone's phone number before you could go and have a connection with them. So I'm letting you know this because if somebody says to you, oh, yeah, I'll do a reading for you. Tell me who you want to hear from. And I'll make sure they're in heaven. Or tell me who you want to hear from and I'll get a message for you. Run the opposite way, right? And there's even been mediums who have blown me up about this. I've been like, oh, Matt Fraser says that he can't communicate with somebody directly. Come to me. I'll get in touch with that person for you. And I'm like, how, right? I can't make your dad come to me. I can't make your mom come to me. Even my own loved ones. Sometimes like, where the hell are you, right? Because the thing is that at the end of the day, it's your loved one's choice. You can open up this space. You can invite your loved ones in. But it's your loved one's choice to when you invite them in, if they want to communicate or if they want to talk. But what's really beautiful about this is that sometimes souls don't come through right away, right? Or sometimes you might come to a reading, whether it be personal, online, whatever it may be, and you don't hear from somebody. But then you come again and you hear a message that completely changes your life. And you might hear from 3 people all at once. It's cool how the spirit world communicates. There was this woman that I was connecting with. She came to 3 of my online readings. She didn't hear a message. She came, I think it was a couple of online readings ago. She came and it was her birthday. She felt like I need to do this once more. I need to do this once more. She came to the online reading. She was the first one. And there were so many souls that came through for her. And she was like, oh my God. And she started crying. She couldn't believe it. She was completely overwhelmed with emotions. It took those couple times. But in the meantime, she was learning, right? She was learning how spirit communication worked. She was getting herself ready. She was getting herself open. In the beginning, she didn't know if she was even going to try to communicate with the loved one, right? If they were going to try to communicate with her, she was a little bit nervous. She was a little bit anxious. It took those couple of times, but she opened herself up. You know, this is the reason why I do my online readings. It's the reason why I keep them affordable. It's only $22 to register because you might not receive a reading the first time. Your loved one might not come through the first time, right? But when the soul does come through, it's going to be the most amazing experience. And what I can also tell you is this, is that even if you attended 4 times, 5 times, didn't hear a message, let's say 10 times, it would still be, 20 times cheaper than what it used to be to get a private reading. And at the same time, you're learning so much. You're learning about heaven, the afterlife, spirit communication, signs, and you're sending a message to your loved one on the other side in the afterlife. So I know a lot of you guys are asking, well, Matt, how do I get an online reading? Do you do online readings? Do you do private readings? So I don't do private readings anymore. But here's the cool part that most people don't know or don't listen to. I got to tell you that there have been over 2,000 people who have gotten readings from me, not through private readings, but through my online group reading events. In between tour stops, when I'm home in this office, I do live online readings where I channel messages from your loved ones in spirit. And it's amazing because I'm able to pull family after family after family. People attend from the United States, all over the United States. People attend from Canada. People attend from the UK. People actually get 2 tickets and will bring their sister with them. So let's say you live in Maine, but your sister lives in California. They come on together. And I've been able to read so many people. If you've never been to an online reading, here's what happens. You sign up on my website. It's $22. I'll send you a link to your email inbox and take a look. This is what an online group reading event is like. Take a look. And they're actually not fighting right now.
Oh my God. No, you didn't just say that.
Okay, now I'm a believer.
I mean, my Instagram and all my social media don't have any pictures. I don't post anything of that nature. And for you to say the things that you just said, you don't know how you just changed my life.
He knows about the way that you asked to stay with his body after he died.
No one knows that.
I know it because I've been talking to your father. Who the hell do you think I'm talking to?
Oh my God.
Okay, there's a soul that's here that's trying to grab my attention that's telling me that they passed during a procedure.
That's my sister.
She's here. This is weird. Hold on a second. Wait a minute. Do you still have your daughter's hair? She just said to me, talk about the hair and they're going to know that it's real.
She had cancer. We had her hair cut.
She was growing her hair out to donate to a little girl.
Did your dad used to hide money in coffee cups?
Oh my God, we found those old coffee tins hidden in the basement with tons of money.
I'm also seeing the situation where he had a procedure done.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, you're so right.
And
I did not believe you were real. I mean, I wanted to. Oh my God.
Your brother's telling me that he had thoughts of ending his life here in this world.
How do you know this? I found you like randomly too. It was like on YouTube and I was like, he's got to be one that my brother was telling me to find.
You guys, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I mean. All those people who got readings are live online. It's literally like speed dating with the dead. It's literally like you're there live with me. I see you guys see me. And then the souls start telling me, I'm this person's mother. I died in this way. You need to find my sister. You need to find my son. You need to find my mom. You need to find my dad. And even pets come through as well. Children come through. It's amazing what happens. It's literally a family reunion with heaven. And thank you, Meaningo One, for sending that over. That super thanks. So what I want you guys to know is this. In just 2 days, okay, I am giving live readings online on June 12th. And I just added a few more to my schedule, but June 12th. And I'm holding registration open just for the next few hours. So if you want to join me for a live online reading on June 12th, here's what you need to do. It's happening at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You have to go to my website, meetmattfrazier.com, okay, and sign up. I tried to keep it affordable for everybody. It's only $22. And this is what it's like. My website looks like this. You hit on, that's tour dates. You hit online readings. And once you hit online readings, you're going to see all of all the online reading dates. But there's only a few hours left to sign up for Thursday, June 12th at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Time. That's the same time zone as New York City. So if you want to join me, meetmattfrazier.com, because we're about to close the registration window. And I'm so excited to see who is going to slip in and get that spot, because I can only allow a limited amount of people. I only keep them open for so long. So I know a lot of you have been last minute. A lot of you have been trying to find the online readings. You're like, nah, I just haven't been able to attend. It just hasn't been the right date. It hasn't been the right time. This is your chance. I see, oh my God, I love this. I see Charlie already has her spot. She says, I already got my tickets. I love that. I also see that LB is here, who's been a longtime follower forever and ever. Thank you, LB, for being here. So if you want to come and if you want to join me, like I said, meetmattfrazier.com, meetmattfrazier.com. That being said, that's where you can go to reserve your spot. It's happening in just 2 days, June 12th. Make sure that you're there because once we're sold out, we're sold out. Oh my God, thank you, Terry's been there because it's totally real. I know so many of you. I also see Chris signed up as well. And I see Debbie has her ticket. That's pretty cool. So listen, there's only a few spots left. June 12th, head over to meetmattfrazier.com. I also added some new dates on there as well. And guess what? I just added this too. Something that I've never done before. It's up on my website. I want you guys to be the first to know. On July 17th, so next month, July 17th, I'm going to be doing a very special event online. It's a one-time only event. We've never done it before. Speaking to spirit guides. It's a 2-hour event where I'm going to be telling you who your spirit guide is. They're not a family member. They're someone who died, who lived here on earth, and they're helping you with your path. I'm going to tell you who they are, why they're helping you, how they're connected to you, and so much more. You actually have multiple spirit guides that are with you. You're going to find more about it. July 17th. It's up on my website, Speaking to Spirit Guides, 1 night only. I'm so excited for that. I've never done live spirit guide readings before, so I'm so excited to see what's going to happen. And Autumn goes, Matt, how can we start mediumship ourselves? Well, first of all, it starts with learning how souls communicate. And I know a lot of people have come to the online readings, have come to the angel messages, have come to some of these events, and it's really sparked an interest with them, but it's also shown them how they're intuitive, right? There's been many mediums who have come to these events, and as I was giving readings, they felt the same things that I did. So that's one of the coolest things, is that it opened up their consciousness, and opened up their awareness, and opened themselves up to spirit communication. So there's so many reasons why you should attend. Like I said, June 12th is the next event, live online, meetmattfrazier.com. The moment you sign up, I will send a link straight to your email inbox. So make sure you go to this link right here. If dead people can find me, so can you. Meetmattfrazier.com. Just click on online readings. So I will see you soon. Trust in the signs, and remember that your loved ones are always with you. And I hope to see you on June 12th. And remember, even if you don't sense and feel your loved one, give it time. The signs will come when you least expect it, whether it be through a dream, a fragrance, a feeling. Your loved ones are always there. I'm going to leave you with that.